Good morning, everybody. This is Elise Tager. I think I'm going to wait just a little bit. It's just 11 o'clock to let more people jump on with us. So there you go. So I'll give it a couple of minutes anyway. So if you're one of the early birds, thank you for joining today. And we will get going in just a minute. So who's joined me here? Amy, you're here. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. Do you know where the chat is? You can talk to me in the chat, which would be lovely. Anyway, I'm so glad you're here. So you know what, in deference to you, so Amy says, hey girl, I'm happy to be here. Well, good, I'm happy to have you here. I hope your life has gotten less chaotic since the last time we chatted, which sounded pretty chaotic as a matter of fact. But hopefully life is calmer for you. So you know what, I'm gonna get going. It's 11 o'clock in deference to y'all who are here. I don't want to keep you waiting. Plus the fact I tend to be a chatty Cathy. So I don't want to go too far over that hour. So I'll just get going. Okay, I am Elise Tager. I am a business coach for ambitious entrepreneurs. And I am so glad that you're here today because I love doing presentations like this. And I always feel like I'm giving a party, whether I'm doing a webinar or a masterclass or doing public speaking. I just feel like, you know, this is my party. And so I'm very glad to have you at my party today. Thank you. So a little bit of housekeeping before I get on with the presentation. I'm going to have everybody on mute. It just makes life less chaotic. If I can hear stuff in the background, I get distracted. You get distracted. So I've got everybody on mute. But if you have questions throughout the course of the presentation, put them in a chat session, which is down on the bottom. If you take your cursor to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little bubble that says chat. If you click on that, you can type in there. So what I'll do is I'll finish the presentation, I'll get out of screen share, and then I'll go back to chat and we'll answer any of your questions. I don't want to interrupt the flow of the presentation because I get all out of whack and it's not fun. So we'll go at the end, we'll take Q&A and chat at the end of the session. So as we go along, if you've got questions, type them in there. I'll be glad to answer them later. Okay, let's get going. So we are talking about, let me share my screen first. Share, there, share. Okay, now if I'm lucky, the tech gods will be smiling at us and I don't have to worry about that. I never know. So can everybody see can everybody hear me and see the screen? Let me just see in the chat if that's the case. I hear someone saying, oh, stop, what did I do? All right, now, look at this. I sent an invitation to someone. I had no intention of doing that. How do I get out of that? All right, let me get out of full screen here. Let me stop sharing for a second. I can't even do that. See, the tech gods are not smiling on me today. Share. Chat. All right, you can hear. Ginger says you can hear. All right, I'll take that as a go. I do not know how to get out of this. Give me 2 seconds to be a tech nerd and I'll try to get out. Okay, let's go. Let's go back to where I started. Okay, here we are, do-over. So today we're going to talk about the 5 crucial steps to shift from solopreneur to CEO and experience amazing growth in 6 weeks without breaking the bank or becoming completely overwhelmed. So what we're going to do today is talk about, if you're a solopreneur, how to get out of hair on fire, which is one of my favorite phrases. So who is this for? If you are a solopreneur and want to grow your business, and don't know how to get out of the hamster wheel of doing, doing, doing. If you are not happy as a one-woman band and want to make some changes, you're in the right place. Does this sound like you? You're too afraid of spending money for additional items, for additional expenses, because cash is always, always, always tight. Or you're exhausted by a never-ending to-do list and wearing too many hats. Amy, I think that's where I met you. You were exhausted. So I know that well. You desire a business that fits your life instead of a life that has to wrap around your business. You know, one of the big things that I focus on is work-life balance. And I think that's the first thing to go out the window when you're a solopreneur, is that you're all in and you're working like a nut, and your personal life and your self-care goes out the window. So I want to weave that into what we're talking about today. You've also struggled with never being able to take a vacation or real time off. This is another one that's really kind of scary, because if you can't take time off, why did you even start this business in the first place? Also, have you said no to any new opportunity because you couldn't handle the additional work? That's a kiss of death if you can't grow the business because you're too busy working. Is the passion gone? You started your business with a passion. You really want to grow the business, but you just don't have the energy left. This is one of the things that happens at the end of year one for most people, is they're just too exhausted to. You wake up in the morning thinking, why did I even do this? You know you weren't where you want to go with your business, but you can't figure out how to get there. So I'm going to help you with that for sure. So I'm looking down at notes, everybody, because if I don't look at notes, I'll talk to you all day long, and you don't want to be here for all day long. So that's what we'll do. So the 5 steps I've used to grow my business to over $1 million, this is what we're going to cover today, which is the 5 steps that I've used to grow my business to over $1 million in revenue in only 12 months. We're going to talk about how to identify your obstacles and get out of your own way to make growth happen, because most of the reasons that you're not growing are mindset issues and you're in your own way. So we'll talk about getting out of your own way. How to avoid feeling a loss of control as you think about building a team, even if you have made hiring mistakes in the past. It's very scary for a lot of people. And I want to transform your fear of spending money into a healthy understanding of investment to help build your business. So instead of looking at spending money as an expense and painful and you're bleeding, to investing in the growth of your business. And I want you to understand by the end of this conversation, understand what it actually means to work on your business, not in it, like a true CEO does. So my promise to you today in answering all of those questions, actually, let me step back. Every solopreneur is a little bit different. Each has strengths and weaknesses and different levels of commitment to their success. And how you apply the information I'm going to give you today is up to you. But from working with literally hundreds of solopreneurs throughout the years and small business owners, I know that these strategies work. I've had 4 businesses, and I'll tell you about that a little bit more in the future, but I know what it means to struggle. I know what it means to have your hair on fire. I know what it means to be working 24/7. And I know exactly what is going to work to get you out of that position. So I promise you, I'll show you that. So why is this important now? Let me take a sip of water. Hold on one second. Every day that you spend as a solopreneur is hampering your ability to grow. So that the hamster wheel is exhausting and not sustainable. And the quicker you resolve it, the faster you can move forward. The catch-22 is if you get addicted to that hamster wheel. You'd feel like if you're not busy, you're not accomplishing anything. So that's one of the myths that I want to break in the course of the conversation today. But think about how much revenue are you losing weekly because you're lost in the weeds. Look at this poor little guy. You're lost in the weeds of doing and not creating or growing your business. So stick with me. I love giving gifts away. If you stick with me to the very end of the webinar or masterclass, I have a gift for you, and I'm not going to tell you about it to the end, so don't go anywhere. The real problem, if you are that solopreneur with hair on fire, is that you don't have a process to get you out of this trap, this hole. If you had a process, you would have started it, right? You would have started getting out of the hole of working too hard and being exhausted. I've got you. These 5 steps are going to help you go through the process of getting yourself out of that horrible position. So once you take these 5 steps, you're going to have absolute confidence. You'll feel free and in complete control and have the ability to greatly increase your revenue. You're not going to be working nights and weekends. You're not going to be wondering when you're ever going to see your family. You're not going to be tearing your hair. And so let's just get started with what these are all about. These are 5 steps that I used today with my clients and that you need to finally use to start growing your business. And I'm going to walk you through the 5 steps today so you know what to do. So just a little bit about me and why you should be listening to me today. I am a business coach and have been working with women entrepreneurs for the past 10 years. I've been talking to most women entrepreneurs are solopreneurs, right? Something like 90% of the women who have their own business are solopreneurs, and they never get beyond that. And so I have been in that same position as you have, and I'll tell you more of my story in a minute. But I've been a serial entrepreneur. This is my 4th business. I seem to be addicted to the whole process of being an entrepreneur. And I am passionate about helping other women find their path, because I feel that being in charge of your own destiny is really critical. And I know the pain that can ensue in that process. So I want to help you believe in yourself and be able to build that business. So a little bit about my story. Am I there? My story. So just a quickie about me and how I built this concept. I had a media buying agency for 11 years. My business was very, very successful. But I was in business for 18 months as a solopreneur. And I loved it, but I was absolutely about to drop dead. I love what I was doing. My clients loved me. I loved what I was doing. I really rocked it. I was doing a really great job. But 18 months into it, I could not continue, right? I was too tired. I had 2 kids at home, 2 small kids at home that I wasn't seeing enough of because I was working nights and I'd bring home work on the weekends. It was unsustainable. And I just knew I had to do something. And I was too burnt out to know what to do. Plus the fact, and this is the kiss of death, I realized that I had no time to look for new clients. None. I had a lot of good business coming in, or I had a lot of good business that was stable, that was keeping me at this level of business. But I didn't have the time to look for or bring in any new clients. And if anybody left me, what was I going to do, right? I was totally dependent on the clients I currently have, which is a very dangerous position to be in. If that's you in your business, listen up, because that is a destiny. That is a setup for failure. Unless you have an ability to seek out and bring in new clients, you're never going to be able to grow because, things might happen. You know what, I skipped a slide there, but I want to make a point of telling you about it. I showed you a picture of my family. I was going to show you a picture of my fabulous family. You don't need to see that. The point I wanted to make though there is, as a solopreneur, you take on the burden of your whole business and you bring that home. And so if you are stressed, if your hair's on fire, if you're working too hard, if you're feeling a lack of confidence, if you're in anxiety mode, that's what you bring home. And so getting out of this situation is not only important for you and the growth of your business and the health of your business and your own health, it's critical for your family so that you all can be happy campers. Because believe me, whether you're aware of it or not, you bring that stuff home. So that was my point about there. So in that, I had been a solopreneur for 18 months. And as I say, doing all the work and loving doing all the work, but I just was in a rat race. I couldn't get out of it, and I was exhausted. I was at that point where my passion was completely gone, and I was just trying to keep up. So I was at a turning point. I had 3 choices, right? I could continue to struggle, which I sort of couldn't do because I was just too tired. I couldn't keep this up for very long. I could give up and fold the business and find a job, which isn't the end of the world, but it's not what I wanted to do. Or I could figure this out, figure what it was going to take to turn the business around. So I needed a roadmap because I knew that I didn't have the answers. If I had the answers, I would have done that, right? I would have gotten myself out of that situation or never gotten into it. So at that point, my lowest point though, I made a decision to change my mindset from being the worker bee, which I loved. I loved what I was doing, which is dangerous. I loved what I was doing. I needed to focus now on being the CEO of my soon-to-be booming business, which, let me tell you, is a major shift in mindset, and it's a major shift in skill set, which I didn't realize until I got there. So I really didn't know what I should be doing. I could see what had to happen, but I had no clue about what to do. I knew the answers had to come from outside because I didn't know what I was doing. So I hired a business coach. I did the research to find a business coach who was had also built agencies over the years. So she had expertise that was specific to my needs. And I hired her. And let me tell you, this was a huge leap of faith because I didn't have the money to do this, right? She was very expensive. And I just whipped out my credit card and signed up to get, I don't remember, it was 3 months or 6 months of coaching from her. And I held my nose and jumped into the deep end of the pool. I had no idea how I was going to pay that back. I just had no idea. But I knew that I was making an investment in myself and an investment in my business. So that mindset shift from, oh my God, I'm spending too much money, to I am investing in my future and I have confidence in me, was another major shift that most people don't get to and have to get to be able to get outside of their being stuck as a solopreneur. So I took a look, with her help, I took a look at my strengths and weaknesses and decided I had to devote my energy to building the business, not doing the business. So I had to become the new biz dev queen and find a way to serve my clients. So I had this light bulb moment that I was, in being the worker bee, I wasn't doing my best work. I'm not a detail person. I'm still not a detail person. And so for me to be doing the details of the business was selling myself short. And I had to start moving the direction that I know I excelled in, right? I know that I'm good at sales. I know that I'm good at visionary stuff. I know that I'm a good leader. I know there are a lot of things I do well that I wasn't doing. I was doing my mediocre stuff. So I had to make that shift so that I was giving my business my best. And I also had to find a system that would allow me to jump off this horrible hamster wheel. And this is where I really looked to that business coach to give me some direction because I didn't know what I was doing. So with her help, I started to very carefully and cautiously invest in a team and spend some money on building a prospecting system. Those were the two things that I know she told me and I knew that I had to do to be able to get to the next step. So this did not happen overnight, but it had to happen, and I started slowly. So at the end of, I'd had that business for 9 more years, and I built a carefully selected team of rock stars. It didn't happen overnight. I started very small. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I started to consistently bring in more business every month. I could sleep at night, which was amazing, and even take time off and take vacations. Amazing. So when I sold the business, we were doing millions of revenue every year, all due to the steps that I had put together. Given my experience, I put these 5 steps together so I could communicate them to you guys. So you don't have to go through what I went through. It was not fun. So this is possible for you too. No matter what niche you're in, no matter what stage of business you're in, this is going to apply to your business, I guarantee it. But some of the keys to my success, I had to be open to change, right? What got me to where I was at the end of that 18 months, what got me there wasn't going to get me to the next stage, right? Whole different set of skills, whole different set of mindset shifts that had to happen. What got me here wasn't going to get me there. So I had to be open to change. I had to be willing to do the work, right? There are no magic bullets here. I had to take action every single day, whether I wanted to or not, right? I'd get up in the morning and it didn't matter what I felt like. I had to do what I needed to do to get that transition to happen. I also had to start the change before I felt ready, right? So I remember this whipping out my credit card and just, lump in my throat. I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do this. I was not ready, but I had to do this. So starting the change before you feel ready is part and parcel of the whole game. You also want to note that you're building your business for the future, not for next week or next month. So you're going to be thinking a long game, not the short game. So these are some things to think about as you're thinking of making your own transition. So let's talk about the 5 steps. They are mindset changes, time management, think like a CEO, not a worker bee. That's a big one. I'm getting back to my notes here so I don't rattle on. Start building a team and systems, tools, and templates. So I'm going to go spend some time on the first one, which is mindset, because to me, it's the foundation and the most critical part of this transition that you want to be making. And then I'll touch on the other 4. So let's start with mindset. I absolutely love this slide. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. And thank you, Captain Jack Sparrow. So first and foremost, you have to decide that you're going to be successful. You have to decide that you're going to stay in business. This is a decision that you make. When I whipped out that credit card, it was because I decided I was going to go forward and I was going to be successful. I didn't know how, I didn't know how much it was going to cost me, but I made a decision that day that I was going to go forward. So first thing you need to do is make a decision that you're going to be successful. There will be problems, and they may be huge, but the problems are to be solved. They're what hurdles to jump over. They're not walls that are going to stop you. That's, again, an image, a mindset that you have to have throughout it all. So the correct mindset is the core to everything, to business, to life, to family relationships, to everything. Having the right mindset when you get up in the morning is everything. So I guarantee you that if you have the right mindset, you're set up for success. If you come from fear, your business will never grow. You'll be too afraid to allow it. If you come from scarcity, and how many solopreneurs are coming from a position of scarcity, you won't be searching for solutions. You're just going to be anxiety-ridden and scared. If you come from a lack of confidence, you'll never allow yourself to succeed. You'll never give yourself permission to succeed. So these are nuanced things, but this is really important. This is all between your ears, and we're going to change that. And when you're acting from a solid mindset, you come from a position of confidence, of freedom, of creativity, and clarity. You get out of your own way. So as I might have mentioned earlier, in all the clients I work with and all the solopreneurs I've worked with over the years, 90% of their problems are between their ears, and they're the ones holding them back. So this is why I start with mindset, is because it's really important that you address your own mindset issues, and this will be different for everybody. You address your own mindset issues before you start moving forward with the tactical stuff. So you can't hop over this step, and we're going to work on it together as we go along. So let me talk about one of the major mindset changes that I see coming up for almost every solopreneur that I've worked for, and that's called Imposter Syndrome. I don't know if you know this phrase. I just love it. Imposter syndrome is when you feel like a fraud, right? Who am I to be doing whatever this is? Who am I to be writing this book? Who am I to be giving this course? Who am I to be leading this group? Who am I to be writing this book? You just feel like a fraud, right? And you have no reason to be in this position of expertise. So I want to tell you a client story of my client, Kate, who dealt with that, and we dealt with it together. Kate had run a very successful copywriting business as a solopreneur for decades. She was my copywriter for a long time. And she loved it, being a solopreneur, and until she didn't. You know, she was done with it. She'd had enough. She wanted to do something else with her life. She decided she wanted to be a writing coach. And so she felt she needed help to make that transition to being a copywriter to being a writing coach. So she hired me for a 12-session coaching program. And on the very first session with her, what came up was imposter syndrome. And one of the things she kept saying was, who am I to be the sage? Who am I to tell people how to write? You know, she'd been writing for 20 years, but her discomfort was in the ability to tell people how to do it. And we spent a good hour teasing this apart so she could get comfortable with her own expertise, that she could buy into the fact that she had earned every bit of it. And she got more comfortable with the fact that she was exactly the right person to be giving direction to other people. She was the sage, as she called it. That was her phrase. I loved it. So after she got comfortable in that mindset, with that mindset shift, in the matter of 4 weeks, she was able to bring on other contractors to help her do some writing and to help her with the business so she can focus on new business development. She brought in the course of the 6 weeks she brought in 2 or 3 very lucrative contracts that she was able to start with and then grow the business from there. But she had to get over that mindset issue of imposter syndrome. There are so many mindset issues for the solopreneur, and I could spend all day on many of them. I focused on that one because I think we all have that. Anytime that you are reaching out of your comfort zone, imposter syndrome comes up. So every celebrity says they have this before they go on stage, no matter how seasoned they are. So it's a common thing. And the way you get over it then is to learn how to talk yourself down out of it. So let's get on with the rest of the rest of the 5 steps that you need to go through. So the first one was getting mindset correct. The second is time management. And so the one thing that I hear from every single solopreneur that I've worked with is that they are time starved. And tell me if that resonates for you. But they don't have enough hours in the day. They don't have enough days in the week. They just can't get it all done. So the thing that we need to do is take control of our calendar and our week and our month and our quarter. If you spend your life reacting to things that come in, right? How many emails do you get in a day? How many texts do you get in a day? How many phone calls do you get in a day? If you are in reactive mode, there's no way that you can accomplish your own agenda. None. And so you have to set up a structure within your day and week such that you are in charge of where you are putting your attention. That includes clients who raise their hand and say, I need you. That includes prospects that come up and knock on your door saying, I want to talk to you. You have to be in charge of when you do those activities. So the bad news is that the longer you stay in this trap of not having your time managed, of being reactive to all the fire alarms that come your way, the longer you stay in that trap, the less likely it is that you'll ever crawl out of it, because it gets addictive. You get addicted to that busy mode. You feel like if you're not busy, you're not accomplishing anything, right? What did I do yesterday? Oh, I can look back and say that I had 33 things on my calendar and I got at least 10 of them done. That busy does not equal productive. But unless you start to address that, you're never going to crawl out of this hole. So I guarantee you too that you will burn out and lose your passion from the business unless you get your time under control. And unless you start controlling your time, it will control you and you'll never accomplish your goals. So you'll be at the effects of everyone else's agenda, which is not where you want to be. So even those of us who are serving clients, it's up to you to decide and train them when you're available, when you're going to call, when you're going to talk to them, and that you are not on call 24/7. So the trick to making this work is honoring the way you want to run your business. So as an example, if you've got young kids at home and you do drop off or pick up, or if you know that there's going to be soccer games you have to get the kids to after school, you want to make sure that you're organizing your calendar such that drop off and pick up is on your calendar, and you're not taking calls or scheduling events within that 45-minute window, nor are you feeling guilty about doing the pickup and the drop off. That's just one small example, but you're in charge of your own time. This takes discipline at first, right? It takes discipline to set up the calendar, and we work together on that. It takes discipline to keep within it, but I guarantee you, you'll become more productive, less stressed, and more excited again about your business if you can take control of the time management. So one quick story again about another client, Kathleen. Kathleen had been just a rock star consultant. She was a consultant in merchandising for so many catalogs in the world, many big brand names. She had been working 60-hour weeks. She had had 2 decades of a very, very successful career. She took a hiatus, right? She took about 5 years off. And then she decided she didn't like being in retirement. She wanted to come back out and start doing the business again. However, she told me that she was spending a whole lot of time sitting at her desk doing nothing, that she was busy, 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 and not getting anything done. And so she asked me to do some coaching with her to help her get her arms around how to get her business relaunched. Oops. So what we did for her was to sketch out a calendar that made sense for her at this point in her life, right? She was older. She didn't want to work 60 hours a week. She wanted to work about 30, if that. And so we blocked out a week that worked for her, right? We decided that Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, she would devote to all the things she had to do to get her business going again, whether that was reaching out to potential clients or serving the clients she had or sending out proposal. She had distinct blocks of time within which she was working, doing the work, whatever that work was. And the rest of the time she devoted to her volunteer work and spending time with her husband. She didn't feel guilty about the time that she spent in the afternoons doing those other things because she was super focused the mornings that she decided that she was going to be working. She started bringing in business because she was no longer sitting sitting at her computer doing nothing. How many times have we sat there spending a whole day doing who knows what, but you've been at your computer? So we got her over that, and a structured calendar that worked for her. So this is what's going to work. This will work for you too. So that's the second step. The third step is to begin to think like a CEO. This is interesting. When I went from working with that business coach to realizing that I had to start thinking like being the CEO, the leader of my business, not the worker bee, the first thing I thought of was, if I'm not doing the work, come back. If I'm not doing the work, what am I doing? Right? I had no clue. If you ripped off my desk all of those jobs and tasks I had been doing that filled my day, 60-hour weeks, what was I doing? So this is where I help you shift from being the worker bee to understanding what it means to be a leader and a CEO of a business, which is where you have to get. So what the CEO does is create the vision and direction for the business. You should be focused on finding new clients and bringing in new projects. You might be the front person for the business, meaning you're the customer-facing person, but there are worker bees behind you who are doing all the work. You're also the one who's measuring the business. How well are you doing? So thinking like a CEO, you want to be moving in the direction of getting yourself out of the day-to-day. This doesn't happen overnight. So it's not like you're going to turn a page and suddenly you're the grand leader, the grand poobah of your organization. It's you eke it out, right? You start moving that direction. But ultimately, your job is not to work in your business. You are not to be the worker bee. You're going to work on it, the leader, developing the direction. See that girl sitting eating her salad at her desk? That has been me for longer than I care to admit, or that was me for longer than I care to admit. Many salads at the desk. So if that's you now, let's get you out of that situation. So thinking like a CEO, let me give you another example of a client of mine. This is a typical CEO, typical solopreneur thing. So Amanda was a client of mine. Before she was a client, I hired her. She had a service-based business where she did website development and SEO for clients. And I hired her to build my first 1 or 2 websites for me. And she did a lot of SEO work for me way back in the day. Every time I talked to her, which I had to do in the course of those projects, she was busy, 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 busy. She didn't have time. She was like breathless. She didn't have time to do anything. She was just so busy, busy, busy. She was also exhausted. I could smell it from a mile away. And once we finished my projects, I went back to her and I said, would you please hire me as a coach so I can get you out of this situation? You don't need to be suffering like this. So what we did was she did hire me for some coaching. I can't remember again if it was 6 or 12 sessions, but the first thing I did with Amanda was to force her, and she was kicking and screaming, I forced her to double her prices, not increase, double her prices. She kicked and screamed and fought, but she did it ultimately after I battered her over the head enough times. She said, I'm going to lose all my clients. I'm going to be dead by next month. You know, I'm not going to have any business and my revenue is going to go out the window. She did make those changes though. And sure enough, the people who did not come with her were the clients who were the most problematic, who were the most demanding of her time, who probably were the biggest pains in the ass, and who she should have been happy to let go of. The ones who stayed with her were the ones who valued her expertise and valued what she brought to the table. So at the end of the day, she was working with fewer clients, making the same amount of money with far less stress. So in the time that she freed up, we developed a different business model for her. So she started creating courses where she taught SEO and website development so she could be charging more money for the same amount of time. She also started hosting masterminds. So we moved her in that direction, and also we built, I had her hire a couple of people underneath her that would help her do the work so she ultimately didn't have to do any of the work herself. She oversaw it, but she didn't have to do any of the work herself. She needed the help it took to start building a team to move out of that position of being the worker bee to the CEO. You need to free yourself from this trap by getting other people to help you. So the fourth position, I must have skipped a slide in there, but the fourth step you need is to start building a team. And when I say start building a team, I don't mean go out and hire your first full-time employee. That's not at all what I mean. The mindset issues that can come up around delegating. When I say start building a team, what I'm talking about is find a contractor to do 5 hours of the work that you're doing a week. Just start there. It can be bookkeeping. It can be copywriting. I don't know what business you're in, but there are pieces of administrative work that you can start pulling off your desk and getting onto someone else's. Here's what you don't think about. To hire a contractor is something like $30, $40, $50 an hour, or even less if they're overseas. For you to do this tactical thing is what, $250, $355, $500 an hour? You're not going to be spending that much time to hire contract help to help you 5 hours a week. So start there. With that 5 hours, you can start acting like a CEO. And once you do that, you'll start to see that it opens up the ability for you to act more like a leader, and you'll want to do more and more of it. So some of the mindset issues that come up around this whole concept of delegating are, I can't afford it, and I just talked you through how cheap it can be. I can do it myself. I can't trust anybody else. This is another mindset issue where only you can do this. No one else can do this as well as I can. These are all mindset issues that we work through together. So I can help you get over that to the point where you're comfortable building a team, which you must do to start getting out of your CEO trap. The other thing is that I forgot what I was going to say. So I know, you get to decide what a team means to you, right? It doesn't necessarily mean, 5 full-time employees or 1 full-time employee. It could be 1 subcontractor for 5 hours a week. It could be 3 subcontractors for 5 hours a week for each of them. You will change over time. You'll build over time. You have to start somewhere. So is fear of spending money can keep you stuck. If you want to grow, you have to start somewhere, but you start small, but start somewhere. Think in terms of investing in your business, not spending. You know that mental flip that I did when I whipped out my credit card? That was the mental flip into investing in my business, not spending money. This will build you up to start building, not running on that hamster wheel. It's hard to imagine until you start experiencing it. So the 5th step is systems, tools, and templates. Think about this. Every time you, Miss Solopreneur, repeat an action or an email or a proposal or a process, it's keeping you on that hamster wheel. So your focus now needs to be developing the systems that you can then hand off to someone else to do instead of you. So you've got to put the time in up front to recording or documenting in some way what you're doing so that you can hand it off to someone else. This can be a time suck in the beginning, but there are so many tools you can use. You can record videos, you can do trainings into an audio recorder. It doesn't have to be you sitting down and creating these very fancy checklists or what have you. It can, but it can be as easy as you want it to. But know that you're always planning with an eye to the future, right? Whether you get someone to help you in next week or next month, you want to start planning for that now. You want to have a plan for someone else to do that. So you can create checklists or templates or video tutorials to teach someone else how to do the nuts and bolts of what you've been doing as the worker bee. So start to develop systems that can be followed by anyone, not the CEO, right? $30 versus $500. That's the difference in what you're paying for your time. So start planning for your future company right now by creating systems for your future contractors and employees. You're going to be doing the work anyway. Record it, document it so you can hand it off. So one last thought that I want you to think about. The best athletes and politicians and business people and coaches in the world have mentors. I have 2 coaches right now. Why would you do this alone? You know, if a solopreneur is running their business alone, the only thing you have for problem solving is between your 2 ears, right? You're not getting any outside input. So think about opening up your world to creating more opportunity to learn more. So just to recap, here are the 5 steps: mindset changes, time management, thinking like a CEO, starting building a team, system tools, and templates. So right now, I've given you the 5 steps. If you walked away today, you know, you would have the ability to do this on your own. But I want you to think about that. You have a choice right now about whether or not you want to do this alone. So you have 2 choices, right? You can stay where you are. You might be scared, you might be exhausted, you might be stuck, you might be playing it safe. But your choice is you can stay where you are now, or you can take some action and invest in yourself and go all in. And remember, I told you the first decision that you have to make is that you're going to be successful, if you are going to succeed. So let's make this happen, right? These 5 steps work. I have so many clients that have succeeded with this 5-step plan. So if you'd like me to help you implement what I talked to you today, we've gone over today, I'd be really excited to do so. This transition from solopreneur to CEO is a huge one. It's very difficult to make. It's really difficult to make alone. So don't underplay where you are in your business right now. This is a big change that you're going to be undertaking if you want to grow. So let's make it happen. Again, I have a free gift. You have to stay until the end. I'm going to tell you what it is then. So right now, though, I want to invite you to my Solo to CEO course. I have a course that will be opening on Monday the 13th. And I just want to invite you to join me in that course. And let me give you a little bit more detail about it. One of the things that you know, or you wouldn't be here, is that what's been working for you up to now isn't going to help you in the long term. You need to make changes. You need to learn new skills to get you to become the leader and the CEO of your business. So let me just walk you through what the course is all about. No surprise, it follows the structure of what the webinar was. What we do in the course is we go into the how. So I've given you in the overview, we've just gone through the what are the 5 steps, but I haven't told you much about how to get this done. So in module 1, of course, we talk about mindset and fears and vision, and we spend a lot of time on self-reflection. I give you worksheets to try to tease apart where your own mindset issues are. We talk about resolution and how to resolve some of these mindset issues. We have a lot of work. We do a lot of work on making sure that you can identify and acknowledge and work through your own mindset issues. So that's module 1. Module 2 is time management. This is really where I give you the techniques, the apps, the worksheets, the templates to help you manage your life, right? To manage your business life. So we talk about time blocking. We talk about managing your to-do list so it's manageable. We talk about creating that schedule that honors your own energy levels and what your life looks like. We tame that out of control to-do list. We get you operating so that you're a well-greased machine by taming your time. So that's what's in time, the second module. Again, I give you the tools to do that. So number 3 is, again, thinking like a CEO. I go into lots of detail about what it means to think like a CEO. This is a new set of skills. And so the skills that you learned to do whatever it is that you do, whether you're a chiropractor or a coach or whatever, aren't necessarily the skills that you need to run a business. So this is what we go through in Module 3. What are the skills you need to become a CEO? We talk about, I give you details about what they are, how you can apply them to your business, how to start thinking about building the right team, what to measure in your business so that you're measuring success and knowing where you have to do some more work. So this is what the CEO Think is all about. This is what we spend time on in Module 3. Module 4 is more specifically about building your team without breaking the bank. This is the nuts and bolts of how to build a team. So there are 4 stages of team building. We go through that. Again, you're not going to go out and hire 5 people. Who has the cash for that? I'm going to walk you through what the stages are to help you build a team. I'm going to help you identify where to start, writing job descriptions, how to leverage your time once you've got a team built, how to build a team without spending a ton of money. We go through much more the nitty-gritty of how you start building a team without breaking the bank. So number 5, again, this is not sexy stuff, people. These creating systems and tools and templates, but this is what's going to create your freedom for you, right? And being able to design and to delegate and design how you want things done so that someone else can do them is critical if you're going to be able to move off of that stuff off of your desk and become the leader and CEO you need to be. So we talk about the 5 steps to help create systems that ensure your own freedom. We identify repeated activities in your business. We talk about the power of batching and automating in your business. How to use frequently asked questions to start building systems for yourself. So again, very nitty-gritty in that 5th module. The 6th is a bonus, which I just love. This is, come on now. Okay, the 6th is actually a bonus, and this is probably my favorite part of the course. The topic is money, and it's time to escape the money scarcity trap. I would say that all of us have issues around money. Most solopreneurs have issues around money. You think you don't have enough. You don't see present expenditures as a value add for your future. You see them as just expense and a loss. You don't know where you're spending your money. You don't think you're ever going to get enough clients, right? There's a whole scarcity thing around that. You're never going to get your business going to where you want it to be. There's so much scarcity built into money. And what we do in this bonus module, and it is my favorite, is we tease apart where your money issues are. There's 7 money blocks in particular that we talk about that keep you from growing, that keep you playing small. How about charging what you're worth, right? As my friend Amanda, who wasn't charging anywhere near what she was worth. Are you charging what you're worth? We work on that. Getting you comfortable with sales. Oh my gosh, if you're not comfortable with sales, you're never going to bring in new business. So getting you comfortable with sales so that you can do that. If at the end of the day, all you really need in your mind is cash, then I talk about sources of cash and where to find it. Money's out there if you want to go find it. And I talk about the 6, 7, or 8 sources of money that I identified when I was in that position that totally helped me grow my business. So that's the bonus section on money. So in each module, there are worksheets and resources and templates that are going to help you walk through this process at your own pace for your own personality. It's going to be different for all of you. But wait, there's more in this course. So we will have a private Facebook group. And I say private because that's where you guys are going to be able to talk to each other about where your insecurities are, where you're feeling stuck, where you need help, where you need some masterminding. This is private, so you're sharing with the other students, and it can make you grow even more than just doing the work yourself, much more. And then finally, and this works together with the Facebook group, we have a weekly office hours call. So we have a weekly group coaching call where we all get on the phone and discuss whatever you need help with in the course itself. So we have an hour. It's open mic, so anybody can talk, anybody can give feedback, anybody can help. We help each other solve those problems, but if nothing else, I'm there to give you specific coaching on whatever your needs are. But if that hour isn't enough, the Facebook group is where you'll take more of that conversation. So the bonuses, and this is good, this is big, you have lifetime access to the class, right? So I will be, and I have been, adding things to the class as we go along, as I find more resources that I think will be beneficial, as I record more things that will help you, I add them to the class. As I do that over time, you have lifetime access once you've gotten paid in. You get that bonus module on money. You also have lifetime access to the Facebook group and on the online courses. Even after the 6 weeks of the course, you can still log into those calls, so you can continue to learn and continue to grow. I also do a video tutorial on Asana. If you're not using a project management tool, this is going to help you. I use Asana. I check it every day. It helps me and my team stay on track, helps me reach goals. So I'll provide you with a video tutorial on that. So on top of that, there's no risk involved in this course. I have a 100% money back guarantee. If within the first 14 days you're not happy, I will just get you a refund with no questions asked. Again, 14 weeks. So I want to ask you right now, if you really do want to get yourself out of this solopreneur trap, do you want to do it fast or slow? I will tell you that every time I've set a goal for myself, unless I have other people to help me be accountable, other people or coach to help me with their ideas. Unless I have other hands to hold, stuff doesn't get done. I might have the best intentions and I really want to achieve that goal, but it gets pushed back if it gets done at all. So if you want to do it on your own, you've got the 5 steps you can go do that. But I would like to encourage you to get some hand holding here. So the URL at the top of the page, and I'll put this in the chat. In fact, let me do that right now. I will as soon as we get off. I'd like you to take a look at I invite you to take a look at the sales page on the Solo to CEO course. All the information I've given you is there in much more detail. It might help you make a decision. Once you sign up, you get to register. You pay with a credit card on either PayPal or Stripe, depending upon what you're doing. So there are 3 tiers to this course. The first is the Solo to CEO course itself, which is 6 modules, worksheets, resources, templates, all of that stuff to help you get through this transformation. Those weekly office hours and group coaching and the private Facebook group. The cost for this is $9.97, but if it would be easier, there's an installment plan of $175 a month, which again, takes you 6 months out, but it allows you to pay off the course over time. And if that's easier for you, I'd like to offer that to you. So that's the first tier, is the Solo to CEO course plus the community. The second is, if you want more help from me, if you want more one-on-one coaching from me, you can get the Solo to CEO course plus the community plus private coaching. I will give you 4 one-hour private sessions with me, so we make sure that you are really on track to get out of your solopreneur rut. That is $19.97. Again, 6 monthly installments to spread it out over time of $365 a piece. So the last flavor is if you are a do-it-yourself kind of gal. If you have heard the 5 steps, you think they're going to work for you, you'd like to know the how, how to do them, you can get at it yourself. This is I give you access to the course itself, all those videos, all those downloads, all that stuff. No community though. You don't have access to the calls, you don't have access to the Facebook group, you don't have any access from me. There's no input from me. But if you want to do this yourself, This will get you going. This is the best place to start. So again, I've got an installment plan there. You can get started with 3 installments, one a month for the next 3 months for $180. So there are 3 flavors, and for each flavor, each tier, there are 2 ways to pay for it. So I would love it. I would love it if we could get started together. It would, get started for $175 starting now. It's going to get you, the sooner you get your feet in motion to get yourself out of the solopreneur rat race, the better you're going to be, the healthier you're going to be, the more your business is going to grow. So you can start at $175. You're going to save money if you could do a single payment. But let me give you a couple caveats. If this course is of interest to you, jump in now, because the price is going up the next time I launch, which is going to be, in another probably 2 months. So the price is going to change the next time you see it. This is the cheapest it's ever going to be. Also, the bonuses go away as soon as I open the course. So May 13th, the bonuses are gone. So the course starts May 13th, and I'd love to have you join me. So just to put some value around this is so hard to do, but the value of the videos is about 3,000. The downloads and worksheets are another 1,000. I can say this with a straight face. The group coaching, I do a mastermind program over 6 weeks, and the cost of that mastermind is $1,500. So if you had nothing else, right, and you're paying $997, you're getting a bargain. Because you would be paying for my time $1,500. So whether the cost of this value is, the value of this is $7,000 or $4,000 or $10,000, you're getting a real bargain with this course, no matter what flavor you jump in with. So on top of that, here's the gift I promised you, a fast action bonus. The first 5 to sign up will get a 30-minute individual coaching call with me. That's a $250 value. I offer that because I'd love to get I'd love to know more about your business, make sure that you are ready to hit the ground running, and we'll do some problem solving before that first day of the course so you can really hit the ground running. This is good for only 24 hours. That's why I call it a fast action bonus. So with that, I'm going to get out of screen share. I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you do want to take a look at the landing page, and I hope you do, it is right here. So one moment, please. Copy, paste, chat. Come on, Elise, you can do this. Chat. All right. So there's your link. Okay. So I don't see any questions. But if anybody has questions, now is the time. Let's see, can I unmute people? Anyway, raise your hand if you have questions, or throw them in the chat now, and let me answer any questions you have at all. So the course is released a week at a time. So let me back up a second. If you get the do-it-yourself version, where you have none of the community stuff, you get the whole course at once. So as soon as you sign up, you have access to the course. You can do it right away. You can do it all at once. You can spread it over. It's yours to use for as long as you want it. So you have access right away. If you sign up to be a participant in the course, then I release them a week at a time. So Ginger, you ask, is the course levels and offering visible on the landing page? Yeah. So this is where I describe all the tiers. If you go down to the bottom of the landing page, you'll see what is included in each of the tiers and what the prices are, and the installment prices are as well. So all that's on the landing page as well. Good question, Ginger. Anybody else that I can answer a question for? Don't stay stuck with the hair on fire stuff. Really, don't stay there, because you started this business because you had a passion. You started a business because you want some freedom, right? And if you're like me, you created a prison for yourself. And I just want to help you get out of that prison. So that's what the course is designed to do. Anybody else have any questions? Going once? Okay, Ginger, can you see the chat, the link in the chat? No? Nor can I. You can't see it. All right, let me look at this. Attendees. All right, let's try that again. Now, can you see it? Yes, good. There's a difference between panelists and attendees. You guys are attendees. You know, I'm new here. So what can I say? Okay, guys, all good. Any other questions that you have? If you do want to email me, here's my email address. You can always shoot me an email with a question or you need more information or anything. I'm here to serve. So there you go. So if there are no other questions, if nothing else I can do for you, have a great rest of your day. I hope to see at least some of you involved in the course. I'd love to help you through this transition. So there you go. And with that, we're all done. So have a great rest of your day, everybody.